Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy Golden Falls, Golden, what if, whatever you want to call me, and I am back with a brand new what if Tanjiro had hell flame breathing. Before anybody asks, before someone comments anything, hell flame is not relating to My Hero Academia. I was thinking about that for a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, because I don't know why Hellflame sounded so familiar when I was brainstorming ideas, and that's because it's totally from My Hero Academia. But this isn't relating to that by any means. I mean, if you guys look closely at the thumbnail, it's pretty obvious. But yeah, so I hope y'all have been enjoying the Tanjiro what ifs, or the Demon Slayer what ifs. I really love making them. I think it's really fun. And yeah, I'm not gonna waste any more of your time, and let's get right into the what if. Let's get it. There was once a boy that was the embodiment of what was known as the flames of hell. Tanjiro Kamado was taken as a young boy. He was someone who was loving, caring, and his family enjoyed to be around him. But at the age of 3, Hades took the small child. His wife Persephone wanted a child so desperately that she began begging Hades for this said child. So he was taken down to hell and well raised by Persephone and Hades. But Persephone saw great potential in this child, saw something that no other child may even have. Pure hope. This child always wore a smile on his face. He befriended the monsters that were down in the depths of hell. When he would walk by them, they would smile. Monsters that haven't smiled in decades would smile at the young child. So Persephone decided that she would help the child get back to where he came from, his home, on Earth, on the place above world, not below it. So that's what she did. She took the child. After years of feeling guilty, she brought him back up to the surface and left him with 2 things only: something known as the chains of hell and a 3-headed puppy. She told him that these chains would protect him from anything and anybody that would try to harm him, and that, well, she couldn't keep the 3-headed puppy away from him. This puppy loved Tanjiro, so much so that she didn't seem right keeping the puppy away from him. So she kissed the young boy, who was about the age of 12 currently at the moment, on the forehead and left. Tanjiro didn't know how to feel about this. He didn't know much about his life beforehand. His parents, siblings, anything. He didn't know much at all. He only knew the monsters that were down below. He only knew the hellhounds that circled him while he was sleeping. He only knew the little puppy that would sleep with him at night. He knew Hades. He knew Persephone. They were practically his parents. And all he knew was hell. But now he's on the surface of a place that is unknown to him. So he decided, and he began roaming the lands with the 3-headed puppy that Tanjiro named Argos all those years ago. So him and Argos began traveling the lands, searching for something, someone, people, towns, cities, anything he's read in books, anything his mother, quote unquote, told him. And during this time, he began spotting and fighting these things that wanted to eat him. It seemed that there was these creatures that were known as demons that would scour the land and feast on human flesh. And the first time Tanjiro actually encountered one of these so-called demons, Argos began freaking out, barking like crazy towards something in the distance. Tanjiro looked toward it and called out, asking the so-called man if he needed help. But the man looked at him with crazed eyes. "You're right, kid. I do need help." The demon then charges at Tanjiro, but Tanjiro quickly basically latches his chains onto his arms, grabbing the demon and ripping him to pieces, and the demon erupts in flames. Interesting. So there's creatures like this out here. I guess we have to watch out for these Argos. Argos barked as if, well, he was saying like, yeah, he agrees, and they began their journey. Once again, obviously. And well, this happened multiple times. Nothing crazy, no major demons attacked him, but at night he realized that this would only occur. So he decided that the best idea was to, well, try to find a place to somewhat settle down. So that's what he tried to do. He found a large city, and actually at night it would always be bright. So he decided to try to find a place to stay, but unfortunately he didn't have any money, and he doesn't really have qualifications to get a job by any means. But luckily, a young couple saw him searching for a place to stay and saw that he had a little puppy. But the puppy had 3 heads. They still thought the puppy was cute and said that a young kid like him and a puppy that adorable can't be out on the streets. So they brought him in. The couple's name was both Jessica and Tony. And they basically talked for a while with Tanjiro, and he explains that he doesn't necessarily have a home or anything like that. Obviously avoiding the whole Hades living in hell thing because, well, that's just gonna scare someone off. And well, he ended up actually living with them for a while, until he was about 14 or 15, until something that could strike tragedy occurred. A demon entered their house during the night, and it was a demon with 2 axe hands. And the demon tried to kill both Jessica and Tony, but luckily Tanjiro was able to fight him off. He was able to grab the demon's legs with his chains, pulling him out from underneath him, dropping him to the ground, and then kicking him toward the door. As the fight continues, Jessica and Tony watch on in complete awe, but also being terrified. Hellflame breathing. Second form. Hell's gates. Tanjiro wraps his chains around the demon, and the floor opens up as if it was some sort of coffin or pit, and it drops the demon down into the pit of hell and scorches the demon to death. The room then goes back to normal, and Tanjiro turns around and sees their faces, thinking that they now think he's some monster. But in a surprise turn of events, they both hug him and ask if he's okay, and all the what motherly and fatherly things that a normal parents would do, right? And Tanjiro realizes that he actually has someone that cares about him other than, well, Persephone, because back in hell, Hades didn't seem to basically love him how Persephone did. Tanjiro then listens as someone approaches the door. He walks over and tells them to back up just in case that if it might be another demon, and he opens it. "You don't look like a demon slayer, kid." Tanjiro is confused. This man introduces himself as Giyu Tomioka, a Hashira, which is one of the top demon slayers, and he wants Tanjiro to be one of them as well. Tanjiro initially refuses, but Jessica asks Tomioka if that means he'll be strong enough to protect everyone. And Tomioka nods. "It's okay, we'll be safe here, you know? You don't need to worry about us." Tanjiro asks if she's serious about this, and that if he's gone, what if something happens to them? And she tells him that nothing will. That she's sure that if anything happens, she'll call for Tanjiro or anybody else, and they'll be safe. So Tanjiro, after some pushback, well, with himself, decides to leave with this mysterious man that claims to be one of the strongest demon slayers. So they walk off and they head to the Hashira mansion. And during this trip, Tomioka begins explaining how he knows of Tanjiro. You know, kid, this isn't by coincidence. I didn't just walk to a city and find out that you were there. I've heard of you, and I've been searching for a little bit now. Heard of me? Why have you been searching for me, though? Because something happened to you a long time ago. I'm not sure if you even remember, but there was a family, and they lost a son with a mark just like you. And well, what we didn't know and what we learned later on is that family hid away a small sister. Your sister. I don't have a sister. What are you talking about? Tomioka then tells him to wait and that he'll show him very soon and he'll get to meet her. But Tanjiro is adamant that he was an only child and that he doesn't know what he's talking about. But that his mother did say something about letting him go to where he was born. But that's about it. That she never told him about any other family or anything like that. And Tomioka asks who this mother is. And Tanjiro tells him that her name was Persephone. Like the wife of Hades, right? Yeah, the wife of Hades. They both then finally arrive at the Hashira mansion, and they're all greeted. And Tanjiro basically introduces himself, but all the Hashira say that they know who he is. But one of them is frustrated, saying that this boy could be trouble, that they shouldn't have brought him here, that he could be working with Muzan, with the demons, that he's practically a hellspawn. And this was the Wind Hashira. The Wind Hashira approached Tanjiro, and Tanjiro can feel the malice coming from the Wind Hashira. And the Wind Hashira tries to strike him down, but Tanjiro quickly dodges, grabbing him with his chains, but he was able to break free. Their fight is about to begin once again, but the master of all the demon slayers tell them both to stop. So they do, and Tanjiro turns, not even knowing who this person is, but can feel that this person, well, must have some overlying importance to whatever these demon slayers are. Another Hashira then shows up and puts his hand on Tanjiro's shoulder. So kid, you must have some breathing style, right? Breathing style? I guess? I was taught this at a young age. My dad never called it much though. Your dad? You mean, yeah, Hades. He called it Hellflame, or Hellflame breathing. It was something about me being part mortal, or mortal in general, so I can basically use the power that he bestowed on me, something like that. You don't seem very fond of your father. Oh, what gave you that idea? Of course not. He's the king of the underworld, right? He's a horrible person. It's that simple. The Hashira then introduces himself as Rengoku and tells him that he would love to train Tanjiro, and that his breathing is very similar to his own in terms of being able to control fire/flames. I see. Yeah, why not? I've never really trained with someone before, so it should be fun. That's good to hear, kid. We can get right on that. But I would like to send those chains of yours to be coated in Nichirin metal. Nichirin metal? Yes, the metal that we use to basically kill demons. But I can kill demons without it. Tanjiro and him argue back and forth for a little bit about sending his chains off, but eventually Tanjiro agrees to sending it off. And, well, for the next couple days, Tanjiro just trains his hand-to-hand combat and basic stuff like learning total concentration breathing and stuff like that would just further his breathing skills. And well, all the people there are actually just in love with his puppy. Argos is like, loved by the whole mansion because, I mean, he's an adorable dog. And well, some of them aren't too fond about having a dog around, but Tanjiro says it's fine, is that he's been taking care of him for years now, so it's not like it's any different now that he has a place to stay. So after some time, he finally gets his chains back, and he can tell that they're a lot different. He wraps them around his arms, and he sees them change into this tinted, dark red color. And Rengoku then approaches him and says that now it's time to spar for real. And Rengoku charges at him, and their fight is a beautiful one. Both their chains and the sword clashing against each other, flames spark as they fight, and Tanjiro can feel the power that is flowing through him. He can feel that his mastery of this hell flame breathing is getting better and better, and that the power of Hades is slowly but surely becoming his own. He continues fighting Rengoku and actually lands a strike on him, but he apologizes immediately after, and Rengoku just smirks. No, that's good, kid. I'm glad you're able to land a strike on me. That means you can be a Demon Slayer. What are you talking about? Demon Slayer? I swore I heard Tomioka talk about a final selection or something. Yeah, but I talked to the master, and I said that if Tanjiro is able to land a strike on me, then he's worthy of being a Demon Slayer. And he agreed? Yeah, of course. Tanjiro, you just landed a strike on one of the Hashira, which are supposed to be the strongest of all the Demon Slayers. You're ready, kid. Tanjiro is weirdly happy about this. I mean, he's never had a goal to really fulfill. He's always been given broad missions, or just walked around hell saying hi to the monsters, or even when he got sent back to Earth. He didn't really have a goal in mind. He was just walking around finding out what was going on. So now that he has a goal in mind, he's looking even further ahead, thinking about trying his best to even becoming a Hashira in the future. So after the test with Rengoku, which was like more of like a spar, someone finally shows up. After the final selection, Nezuko, his sister, well, unknowingly to him, shows up at the mansion. Tomioka then brings her over and tells Tanjiro that this is his sister. Tanjiro doesn't believe it, thinks that it's some cruel joke. He doesn't have a sister like he said earlier, and he never will have one. He wasn't raised here, and he should have told them that in the first place, but Tomioka cuts him off. I know where you're from, kid. I know you're from hell. I know you were raised down there by the gods, the god of the underworld, or all of that. I know, because I've heard the stories. You've heard what stories? What are you talking about? The story, kid. Hades came up to Earth looking for a child. You were that child. He killed your whole family. Your mother, your father. No, they are my mother and my father. What are you talking about? Tomioka then pulls up a sketch of what their family looked like when it was just the mother, the father, and Tanjiro. Tanjiro sees that even as a baby, he has the mark on his forehead. And that mark is on his father as well. No, it's not true. How could it be true? You're telling me Hades killed my real family. Nezuko walks up to him and nods, saying that she was raised by the Demon Slayers, and that she can only assume that she was hidden away when Hades attacked and took Tanjiro away from them. No, this can't be true. This can't be. Tanjiro began getting furious, frustrated, pissed. He can tell that they're telling the truth. He can, but he doesn't want to believe it. His arms begin to shake and his chains begin to change color. they change from that red color to blue. They begin growing a bright blue, brighter and brighter, and Tanjiro screams the name of Hades, and his whole body erupts in blue flames. Tomioka readies his sword and tells everyone to back up as the Hashira step forward just in case. But the blue flames dissipate, and Tanjiro stands there sobbing, realizing that his actual family is dead, and that yes, Persephone might have actually saved his life by getting him out of there. Her guilt for taking and wishing for a child, it might have saved him, and luckily he was gone. But he wanted something else. He wanted to kill Hades. He wanted to end the life of the man that ended the ones that were raising him in the first place. Tomioka then puts his hand on his shoulder though, and so does Rengoku, telling him that they know what he's thinking, that it's not worth it. It's not worth trying to do that, that now that he is home and back with the people that care about him, that it's time to move on. Tanjiro continues sobbing, but he knows that what they say is correct, that he needs to move on and pursue having a better life now. Something beyond what Hades granted him initially. So he decides that he's going to continue down this path that was granted to him. He's going to continue down the path of being a demon slayer. And obviously they're happy to hear this, and Tanjiro nods and gives his sister that he really never knew a hug, and tells her that he's sorry that he couldn't have done anything at that time. She tells him that he doesn't have to apologize, and as they hug, Argos jumps over and hugs them as well, you know, how a dog would, by jumping into their arms. So, some time passes, and Tanjiro mostly just trains with the other Hashira, the Demon Slayers, things like that. They actually avoid bringing him on missions initially until he was fully ready to handle those missions, which he was in raw strength, but not necessarily technique. So, once he was ready, he actually went on missions with Rengoku, which he was kind of like Rengoku's protege, in which Rengoku would do most of the training with him and things like that. So, he went on some missions with Rengoku, which were pretty simple, pretty basic actually, and they weren't of any trouble. Frankly, Rengoku probably could have done them on his own, but it was good for Tanjiro to get some experience before actually just diving into the deep end, especially with seemingly having some emotional disabilities in terms of how he was raised and other reasons. Until finally Rengoku saw a chance for Tanjiro, for him and Argos to actually go out and handle one on their own. During this time, there was a big mission going on in Natagomo Mountain. The master of the Demon Slayers tells basically Shinobu and Tomioka that, well, on the mountain, a lot of Demon Slayers are currently dying, and they need some support. So Tomioka and Shinobu agree to go help, and Rengoku adds in that if they don't mind, he would like to send Tanjiro, and that this would be a good way to basically, you know, give him some experience. They all agree, and Tanjiro goes off with them to Natagomo Mountain. When he arrives, he takes one section of the forest, and the other two take the other sections with Kanao as well, and they basically scour the forest trying to save as many people as possible, until Tanjiro comes across a demon that is talking to someone, but it seems like he's talking to his sister. "You're really useless. How about you go handle those other Demon Slayers, and then maybe you'll be useful to me. Other than that, I don't see that you are even part of this family anymore." The little sister cries out and says that she promises to make herself useful and runs off, and Tanjiro walks out as this occurs. You know, It's not very nice to talk to your sister that way. Rui looks at Tanjiro and asks who he even thinks he is to even question him, that he's in his family's domain. I don't care about your family's domain. You don't want to mess with me, especially about family. Rui slightly laughs at this and asks what is he going to do, that he's just some measly demon slayer, one of the bottom ranks, just like the others. Oh, bottom ranks, huh? Tanjiro drops his chains and they smash to the ground, and he begins spinning them. Rui looks on and wonders why those chains look familiar. Why is he even thinking about the chains that he's just showing? Rui then realizes that this kid, he's the same person that Muzan spoke of. Muzan spoke of two legends. One of the demon slayer that would wield sun breathing, and another of Hades' offspring, someone that could have been a half-blood, or maybe a full mortal, or maybe even full god, would come down one day and try to take away everything they've worked for, and that if you've ever come across him or her, they need to be dealt with as soon as possible. Rui knows who this person is. This person is related to Hades, to Persephone, to hell itself, and Rui begins speaking about it. Are you really the one that's part of that legend? What legend are you talking about? The legend of the son of Hades. Just as Rui brings up the name Hades, Tanjiro lights ablaze. His whole arms, his body lights in a blue flame, and he grabs Rui. Do not speak of his name. Hades is nothing to be talked about. Hades is nothing. I am not Hades' son. I am Tanjiro Kamado. As he says this, he rips Rui to shreds, but doesn't actually kill him. Instead, he keeps him alive, and Rui is able to regenerate. Again, Tanjiro rips him to shreds over and over again. Speak of him again, I dare you. That once kind soul Tanjiro seems to be slipping, and even Argos can tell. Argos runs up to his leg and rubs against it, and Tanjiro realizes what he's doing and looks down, and he's ashamed of himself, that he might not be the blood of Hades, but the anger that he has inside still resembles his surrogate father, the father that quote-unquote raised him. So he decides that he's going to finish this off and not delay the inevitable, wrapping his chains around Rui one more time. Hellflame breathing, third form, Hell's infinite pit. Flames engulf Rui and completely disintegrate him. I'm sorry, Argos, I didn't mean to make you afraid. Argos obviously wasn't afraid by any means, but can tell that Tanjiro was slipping in terms of his anger, which is never really seen unless brought up upon by the name of Hades. But he finishes up quickly, and he helps just exterminate the rest of the demons that are in the forest, and they all head out. Eventually, Tanjiro arrives at the Hashira mansion, and everyone congratulates them for the good success, and Rengoku tells him that he did a good job. Thank you, Rengoku. I appreciate it. Rengoku asks him if everything's fine, and he says that it is. He just needs to get his anger under control, and he thinks that everything will turn out okay. Rengoku agrees, saying that anger is never the way, that keeping your heart as kind as possible will always prevail in the end, especially when dealing with demons. Tanjiro agrees and says that he'll meditate on it. So over the course of the next month or so, maybe even 2, he begins training, meditating, and even helping other demon slayers, these 2 by the name of Inosuke and Zenitsu, but he doesn't really have any connection with them currently, he just kind of helps them out from time to time. Obviously, helping Kanao out with their training and Aoi out with their training. He also spends time with his sister Nezuko, getting to know her well because they haven't spoken in well ever. So over this time he does find some peace of mind, and the hatred in his heart begins to soften a bit. Obviously he doesn't like Hades by any means, but he's a lot calmer now, just like how he was back in Hell, where he would walk around Hell and everyone would look at him with smiles, even the most deadliest of monsters. Now he feels more at peace. Finally he got his next mission, and it was going to be on the Mujin train. And Rengoku tells him that they're going to be going together, and Tanjiro questions why he can't do it on his own. "Kid, you sure you can handle it on your own?" "Of course I can. I guarantee you I'll be okay." Rengoku agrees, saying that he is very powerful, maybe even Hashira level at this point, so he can go on his own. So that's what happens. So Tanjiro sets off to basically scout for this so-called train, and he does just that. And he finds out that the train is actually being, well, fixed at the moment. So in the meantime, he buys some bentos from a little girl and her grandmother, and then scouts for the train once again and heads over to where it's being fixed. He plays it off like he's just here to give them some bentos and some food, and of course the workers would never question this because it's free food. So he looks around, seeing the Mujin train right there, and he hears something in the back. He hears a scream from a young child, and he runs over, and he sees that a demon has the child. "Don't you dare move, Demon Slayer, or I'll kill this kid in an instant." Tanjiro just ignores the demon and looks to the child that he has. "Relax, okay? Everything's gonna be fine. Can you nod for me, please?" The child nods, and the demon tells him not to ignore him, that everything will not be fine. His chains drop to the ground, and the demon sharpens his nails once again and tells him that he said not to move. Hellflame breathing. Fourth form. Hades' wrath. Tanjiro doesn't even move, but his chains light a blue flame, and the demon begins to disintegrate, starting with his arms, until the demon was dead. This form was able to kill a monster without pure heart, as long as the user has more of a pure heart than it, but also has to be leagues above the demon in strength, or said monster in strength. The child runs over to the workers, and the workers have a sigh of relief and thank Tanjiro, and say that they'll do whatever to repay him, but Tanjiro says that it's fine. That is just his job. He leaves, and then he arrives back at the train station and waits for the Mujin train to arrive. After some waiting, it finishes and it finally arrives. He enters and begins waiting for the demon to attack. He scouts out every place in the train and wonders when they will arrive. Finally, the lights begin to flicker and two demons then arrive, but he quickly defeats them, and he knows that these can't be the demons and the demon that is the reason why he's here. So he continues waiting until someone, a grown man, asks for his ticket, and Tanjiro obliges, and the man stamps his ticket and he takes the ticket back from him. Soon after though, Tanjiro began feeling drowsy, as if he was about to fall asleep. And he does. He falls asleep and he wakes up back in hell. He walks around looking, and he sees Persephone, Hades, and everything seems normal? Like a normal home, as if they were his parents. Tanjiro quickly began remembering everything that he's been taught. This isn't real, this isn't hell, this isn't anything he would even remember. The monsters aren't even here. This isn't real. He must be dreaming somehow. he leaves quickly and looks around to see what's going on, finding someone lurking in his dream, and the person is frozen, looking off into the distance. "So, are you the one that's infiltrating my dream?" The little kid looks at him and begins crying, saying that he's sorry, that his heart is so pure, but his backstory and his history is so unreal, scary, dark. "Yeah, I understand, kid. Sometimes you have to do things that, you wouldn't do normally, right?" The kid looks at him, still tearing up and crying, saying that he doesn't want to do this anymore. He doesn't want to kill Tanjiro. He doesn't want to kill such a nice person that's gone through such terrible things. I haven't gone through terrible things. Everything might look terrible from the outside looking in, but I promise you, without those things happening, I wouldn't be the person I am today. The kid then tells Tanjiro that the only way for him to wake up is for him to die in his dream, and then he'll wake up. So Tanjiro obliges, and actually takes his own life in his dream, and wakes up quickly, and the boy that was attached to him wakes up as well, and undoes the rope and all that, and tells Tanjiro that the demon is at the front of the train, and that he wishes him good luck. The other kids run in and try to fend off Tanjiro. Tanjiro quickly knocks them out, and pats the kid on the head. "Thank you. I'll make sure to get you out of here, okay? I promise." Tanjiro busts out the window and goes charging at the front of the train, arriving at where the demon is waiting. "You know, I kinda knew that it wasn't gonna be that easy. The son of Hades. Definitely interesting. But you could have slept. You could have had an amazing dream with a father that you enjoyed. Hades that you would have enjoyed. His wife would have been even nicer than what she was before. I've read all the storybooks. I know who you are. The son of Hades." Tanjiro cuts him off. "I'm no son of Hades. That's my adoptive father. I'm no blood to him. My power may stem from him, but it's my own. So, I'll give you a chance to leave, or I'll send you down to him." The demon turns toward Tanjiro and smirks, saying that, "Well, you're gonna have to destroy this whole train to get him." Enmu sinks into the train and dissolves into it and begins trying to attack everybody within it. Tanjiro tries his best, dashing from cart to cart, killing and destroying all these tentacles that are trying to kill these sleeping people, and he tries his best to contain it all, until he hears a very loud strike. A bright light is then seen at the front of the train. Tanjiro looks, and everything begins disintegrating. All the tentacles, and Enmu was killed. But by who? Tanjiro hops out of the train to see Rengoku. I'd honestly be lying if I said that I wasn't happy to see you right now, Rengoku. "Yeah, sorry to rain on your parade, but wanted to check in, and I saw that, well, even for a Hashira on his own, this would be kind of difficult to protect everyone and defeat the demon at the same time." "Yeah, I was trying to figure that out as we went, but I guess you made it a little easier." Rengoku kind of chuckles at this and says that they are a team, and that yes, he's his protege, and he knows that he wants to do things on his own sometimes, but if he ever needs help, that reaching out is not the worst idea in the world. Tanjiro nods, and they're about to leave until a voice can be heard. "How touching. Wow, a Hashira and his pupil. It just warms my heart to see it. And you, son of Hades. What does Rengoku remind you of your father?" Akaza, Upper 3, is now standing in front of them. Even Tanjiro, who doesn't know much about these demons, can feel the power of this demon. Can feel that this demon is far beyond the one they just defeated. Far beyond any he's ever defeated. This is going to be a fight to the death. And Tanjiro realizes that. He tells Argos to hide, that he doesn't want his little puppy to get hurt. And well, Akaza says that he has a rule against killing innocents like that. He would never kill a little puppy, nor a woman. Just, you know, them two. Akaza charges at Tanjiro, and he's able to fend him off using his chains and his blue flames. Akaza smirks widely, saying that Tanjiro, he's better than he expected. The son of Hades, his strength is beyond comprehension. So their fight is amazing, a spectacle. But Rengoku decides that he's not going to let his pupil fight on his own, so he charges in at Akaza as well. In a 2v1, they're actually keeping up with Akaza pretty well. Tanjiro with his chains is able to limit mobility as much as possible, and Rengoku's raw strength is able to keep up with Akaza's regeneration to some degree. Tanjiro, though, isn't used to these drawn out battles. Tanjiro hasn't fought in a battle like this at all. He's only fought really short one-sided battles, really. The only long battles he's ever fought were against other Hashira, which were just sparring sessions. And this was no sparring session. This was do or die. So Tanjiro mustered up the most he could and began striking down Akaza, using every form he can. Hell-breathing first form, Eternal Flame. He uses this trying to burn up Akaza, but he's able to get the flames off of him. He tries to use his Hell Gates form, trying to trap Akaza, but that doesn't work either. Akaza's too fast. All his forms, everything he knows, isn't working until he begins hearing barking. It's his dog. It's Argos. Argos is barking at them. But why? Akaza tells them to focus, and he lands a solid punch on Tanjiro's jaw. Argos begins barking, louder and louder. As this happens, Tanjiro begins getting up, just to see Rengoku get impaled by the hand of Akaza. He screams Rengoku's name, and Rengoku flops to the ground, seemingly lifeless. Argos sprints out toward Akaza, and Akaza says that he won't kill a harmless animal, but if the animal touches him, he will. Akaza goes to strike the animal, but Tanjiro grabs his arm with his chains, and Argos begins to grow. Hellflame breathing, fifth form, summoning, Hellhound. Argos begins transforming into the three-headed hound. He's no cute puppy anymore. He begins growing and growing. He's at least 8 foot tall, and Tanjiro stands next to him, and Akaza smirks widely. Finally, a battle worth enjoying. Only if both of you could just become demons like me, we could fight forever. But I'll take what I can get. They begin fighting. Argos bites at Akaza as he tries to dodge, and Tanjiro is able to land crucial hits on Akaza as well. But Tanjiro feels that they're still going nowhere with this fight, so in a last-ditch effort, he uses his second form once again, and prays that hopefully Argos can get Akaza in the pit. He uses it. Hellflame breathing, second form, Hell's Gates. He opens up the ground, and Akaza laughs, saying that this is easy to dodge, but Argos jumps, biting him, throwing him down into the gates as Tanjiro closes it. Akaza screams from within, but he's able to break out somehow, getting away from the gates of hell and sprinting away. Tanjiro tries to grab him with his chains, but he's too far away. Argos is about to run after him, but Tanjiro tells him to stop. Let's focus on trying to save Rengoku for now. Argos agrees, basically shrinking back down, and Tanjiro picks up Rengoku and goes sprinting off, trying to get him to the mansion. Kid, just leave me. I'm gonna die. No, just focus your breathing. You'll make it. I'll make it to the Hashira mansion, okay? I promise. Do not die on me. Kid, I taught you enough. You're frankly as strong, if not stronger than me. And if you aren't as strong as me yet, you will be very soon. You'll be the next Flame Hashira. But more like Hell Flame Hashira, huh? Tanjiro tells him to not talk like that, and that they're almost there, just wait. But just as he arrives at the Hashira mansion, Rengoku bleeds out and dies in his arms. He screams. Tanjiro continues screaming for help, hoping that maybe they can bring him back to the living world, save him. But people arrive and Rengoku is too far gone. And Rengoku dies right in Tanjiro's arms. Tanjiro begins to scream in agony, and his blue flames cover his body once again, but they cover Rengoku as well, as the soul of Rengoku seemingly transfers to Tanjiro himself. And Tanjiro can feel a massive surge in power and strength. What just happened? Tanjiro then just passes out as everybody watches in awe that Tanjiro seemingly preserved the soul and the heart of Rengoku even when he was passed on to the next world. Tanjiro was then out cold for about a month or so. He was severely damaged from the fight with Akaza, and frankly emotionally and physically drained in general. When he finally woke up, both Nezuko and Aoi approached him, asking if he's feeling better, and he says that he feels okay. He just feels sad about the loss of Rengoku. But they ask him, does he not remember what happened after they got back to the mansion? No, I don't. What happened? They then tell him that his soul, Rengoku's soul, was then put within Tanjiro. It was as if it was passed on to him, for say. It didn't feel like Tanjiro took it. It was like it was by choice. Tanjiro is shocked by this. His soul? I know Hades can do that. He has special weapons that allow him to do so. But I've never heard of passive soul taking or gifting. That's odd. I've never heard of it. They say that, well, they know very little as well. I mean, that he would know a lot more than what they would. They tell him that he'll be okay and that he just needs some recovery time, and he agrees. So for the next couple days, he recovers, slightly goes back into training, and just gets ready to go for another mission. But Aoi, Nezuko, and some of the Hashira even say that he doesn't necessarily need to go on a mission right now, that he's done enough for now, and that they can handle it. Until, well, the Sound Hashira then began trying to take two females for a mission that he had to deal with. Tanjiro heard all the commotion and walked out and saw, well, him trying to basically kidnap them. So Tanjiro approaches him. What are you doing, Tengen? Oh, you're awake, Tanjiro. I'm sorry to hear about Rengoku. Okay, Tengen, you're trying to change the subject. You're literally kidnapping two people. Oh, come on, Tanjiro. It's not even like that. I'm trying to go on a mission, and I need them to go on the mission with me. Okay. I'll go on the mission with you, Tengen. How about that? Oh, you will? I mean, of course you will, because I'm just so awesome. So, yeah, perfect. I mean, we kind of need at least 1 to 2 more. As he's about to say this, a kid with a boar mask and, well, another kid with yellow hair begin saying that they will go on the mission as well. Which, the boar mask kid is a little bit more confident than the kid with the yellow hair, but Tengen agrees. And then they begin to leave off to the entertainment district. When they arrive, Tengen tells them that he is their lord. He's their lord, or their king in a way, and that they need to follow everything. Tanjiro cuts him off. Look, let's just please get this over and done with. You literally were trying to kidnap 2 females from the mansion. So let's just get the mission over and done with. Tengen acts all cool and basically tells him fine. So he basically tells them the plan, saying that they will need to dress up as his wives. Not anything weird like that, but dress up as them so that he can basically sell them off to brothels. And basically they need to find the demon that is lurking in the entertainment district. So that's exactly what happens. Inosuke goes first, which Tanjiro never realized how handsome, good looking, pretty? He doesn't even know that Inosuke is without its boar mask. It's kinda weird. The voice doesn't fit the person. Tanjiro then goes next because, I mean, he's pretty good looking, at least compared to Zenitsu. And Zenitsu goes back, which he sold off for literally like nothing. So, just like in canon, that occurs. And Tanjiro enters his brothel and begins scouting around, trying to, well, find this so-called demon. Not really in the mindset of playing the role. He's actually approached by a woman and is offered candy. Can I ask you something? Yeah, sure, why not? The girl that, well, slipped and fell, lost her footing. Did she actually lose her footing? The girl is shocked by this and questions why he would even ask that. Oh, no reason. Don't worry about it. So, Tanjiro then goes throughout the night, basically learning as much as he can until, well, it was finally time for them to meet up. But when they meet up, Zenitsu was nowhere to be found. So Tanjiro brought it upon himself to check around the brothel that Zenitsu was in, finding him, and he was basically captured by the demon they were looking for. He quickly throws a chain through a window, grabbing the demon, throwing her outside. Tengen kinda argues, saying that he wasn't even supposed to have his chains on him, and he says that he can hide the chains pretty easily, but I think it's time to fight and not argue. Inosuke grabs Zenitsu to make sure that he's good to go, and then their fight finally begins. Tanjiro at this point has felt the power of Upper 3 Akaza, so when he feels this power of Daki, he doesn't feel very threatened by it. He actually thinks that he can quickly end this right now, so he tries. He wraps the chains around the demon's neck and, well, seemingly kills her. Well, that was kinda easy? Why did that feel so easy? Am I missing something? Tengen then points back at the demon as something else began emerging. It was another demon? Daki and her brother were both alive, and seemingly her brother now has taken control of Daki, and they can now fight at the same time in perfect unison. They both decide that Tanjiro is the main threat, that taking him lightly is not a good idea. They've heard about him from Master Muzan, and even heard rumors that he went head to head with Akaza and survived. So, putting all the attention on him is the best idea they have. So they try to do just that. Daki's brother tries to poison Tanjiro, and Daki herself tries to grab him and basically pull him from limb. Luckily, Tanjiro is sort of able to dodge, but the scythes is another thing. He is unfortunately about to get hit until Argos jumps in front of him in his Hellhound form. What? How were you able to go Hellhound without me? Argos then roars, and Tanjiro doesn't question it, but he is curious. What if he uses his 5th form while the Hellhound is already loose? Hellflame breathing, 5th form, Hellhound. As he does this, the Hellhound begins disappearing. And begins getting absorbed into his chains. Tanjiro is confused, but can feel a massive surge in power. He then whips his chains at both of them, grabbing them both and slamming them together. Tanjiro then begins his assault on both of them at the same time, and well, he's as quick as a hellhound now. His speed is practically unrivaled. He can barely be seen by the other Demon Slayers. Tengen can barely even keep up with what is happening, and Tanjiro's power is far beyond Daki and her brother. So, he defeats them both and finishes the job, saving all the people in the brothels. But when Tanjiro goes and turns toward the people that he was with, toward Inosuke, toward Zenitsu, toward Tengen, they see something in Tanjiro's eyes. His eyes were different. Everything about him was different now. The power of the Hellhound within his chains. Was he a different person? They ask if he's still truly Tanjiro, and Tanjiro smirks. Tanjiro? No, it's Hades. They all stare in awe and in shock and in fear for their lives. Hades, the god of the underworld, has now channeled himself through Tanjiro. It's over for them. They have to run. They have to escape. Until out of nowhere, they heard laughing. No, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm still Tanjiro. They all sigh and tell him to never do that again. And he promises that he won't joke like that ever again. And that is a wrap. I probably got some of y'all on that one. Yep, almost, probably not. But I hope y'all enjoyed this what if. What if Tanjiro had hell flame breathing? If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, sub, all that good stuff. Demon Slayer week kind of going strong. 2 Demon Slayer movies. I'll be honest, I've had to put in some work to finish these. These take a while. It takes a little minute to finish these. So I really hope y'all are enjoying these. And yeah, that's about it. I hope all of y'all have an amazing day. Later.